Goodbye. Oh, he's got some nice weapons. I'm kind of interested in that SKS. I don't really have the money for it right now, though. Some of these women actually look like the apocalypse hasn't happened. With tasty beetroots. It's no ordinary route, it's a lifestyle. A neatly dressed woman, no more than 30 years old, is walking through the city. There is a bag attached to her belt, fully stacked with fresh, crunchy, and squeaky clean beetroot. Ah, I see. I would notice you, the woman smiles kindly. Hello there, comrade. Are you heading to the merchants by any chance? I highly recommend the beetroot. It's especially ripe and juicy today. Hi, Margarita. When the woman noticed Fidel, her smile and look become even more friendly. Her cheeks turn red. Ah, even with his cloud nose, you like him. Oh, you're also here, comrade innkeeper? Hello, what an interesting new friend you have. Well, I'm more interested in who let this fragile lady carry all this heavy beetroot. We can help you. Oh, my comrade innkeeper, even my own husband doesn't treat me this nicely. I'll carry it myself. You better go and buy some beetroot for you and your friend. I've got other things on my mind besides beetroot. How do you and Fidel know each other? I mean, if you're allowed to disclose this kind of information. The woman lowers her gaze, but I can't smile stays. Well, one could say we're good friends, him and I. After my husband was injured by a mermaid lion on a hunt, he was in a coma for more than a month. His whole body was covered by these tiny infected cuts that were left by the monster's poisonous mandibles. Senora Margot was in need of constant supply of pure alcohol for disinfection, and only an innkeeper with my kind of expertise could distill the required amount. Not only that, the comrade innkeeper's gift saved my Gina. He didn't even ask for any money for his help. Oh, without your help, Fidel, without your being my manly pillar during those 1.5 months, I would have perished. That's nothing. When it comes to you, Margarita, I will not stop at anything. Comrade innkeeper. I don't want to embarrass Fidel. Oh, well, did you look at that? Fidel, that enchanted armor. Wow, okay, I said the option I was hoping wouldn't offend, but the most offensive one, it seems. How dare you say things like that? You insinuating that he helped me because he had an ulterior motive? I'm sure my friend didn't mean it like that. It's just he's also always so sarcastic. Fidel whispers. Try something like this again, we will have a serious talk. Okay. I'm just gonna load that real quick. That was not what I intended. Okay, let's say something that I also wouldn't think would be offensive. Fidel's a great guy, such a cancel. That's true. And now you know when he takes off his little hat on a sunny day, it's as if he had a halo shining around his head. Sign of a true saint. Shouldn't be laughing, it's the truth. This angel of God is destined for greatness. We need to go. Anything else that you can say? I want to ask you a few questions. Let's introduce ourselves. What's your name? My name is Margarita. Or Senora Margot. That's just for you, comrade innkeeper. Nice to meet you, Margarita. What can you tell me about this city? My husband came to this city about 5 years ago when the mutants have replaced all the normal game in the lands near our home. He's a hunter, and my husband, he says there's plenty of game in this part of the waste, and I have nothing to complain about here in the city. What's the fresh gossip? I've heard two thugs discussing some particularly cruel representative of their profession who settled down, got a family, and lives literally under our nose in Fogolevka. A man's soul is truly a mystery. How are you planning to cut the beetroot? Oh, the beetroot can be used in a million different ways. Some of it will make great pancakes, some of it will go to the soup, and the rest I'll pickle. Then I'll dry a few of them to make beetroot flour. It's true what they say, the beetroot is our second bread. Could I also have some of this great vitamin-rich beetroot? Success. The woman removes a small handbag from her belt and smiles at you. She hands you a dark purple root vegetable. Anything for a nice person like you. There you go. I have plenty of beetroot on me at all times. Oh, thank you so much. The beetroot messiah is here. An elderly woman around 60 is taking a walk on the street. On the woman's left arm, you easily notice a long, milky-coloured scar. It's about 20 centimeters long and looks as like she's had it for several decades. The woman seems to be surprised by the fact you're approaching her so suddenly. He stares you up and down and clears her throat. What do you need from old Rita? I've already sold all my harvest to the people from the suburbs. Well, you got some stuff on ya. Nothing really, just felt like having a chat. Could you answer a couple of questions? Well, I have no one better to talk to. Sure, why not? Though I'm afraid I don't have anything that would surprise you. What's the story behind the scar? The woman frowns and shyly runs a finger over the white strip on her skin. The story of the scar is unpleasant. I'd rather not repeat it. Oh, don't be shy, my good woman. Get it off your chest. You feel better. You'll have one more unpleasant story. Wow, that's harsh, that. Ah, I can do that one, apparently. The woman grins, amused by your charm of persuasion. Adana seems to attract people. Fine, you're right. You can stop with the begging, I'll tell you. Nod and listen in silence. The woman sighs and starts talking, unwittedly stroking her scarred arm. I was born and grew up in a village next to a huge, dense, wild forest, crawling with all kinds of beasts. My grandma was a small healer just like I am now. She knew all the tracks in the forest. However, once, in the late August, when I was just 10 years old, her and me got lost in the forest. On our first day there, we were screaming for help all day long. We thought some hunters or mushroom pickers will hear us, and all this time we're moving deeper and deeper into the woods. By the evening of the second day, we weren't able to cry for help anymore. Our voices were gone. We didn't have anything to eat apart from uncooked mushrooms and berries. We were so thirsty. It was unbearable. And then, at some point, my grandma kneeled down in front of me, hugged me and whispered, I'm sorry for the thing I'm about to do, honey, but it's the only thing that can save us. Otherwise we're both going to die. Right after she said those words, she cut my hand with a knife from the wrist up to the elbow. I was stupefied, watching my blood soak into the moss. I didn't even cry. Then the trees began to rustle. A shadow appeared in the underbrush. A big black goat stepped out of the wilderness. My grandmother quickly wrapped a piece of fabric on my arm, sat me on her back, and followed the goat running as fast as she can. The trees over our heads rumbled and buzzed, even though there was no wind all that day. The black goat was in a hurry. What the hell? See, this makes me question whether magic's a thing in this game. That's pretty cool, but still. Are there any goats that like that living in our forest? So I'm gonna keep listening. It walked us to the highway and disappeared as if it was never there. My grandma quickly stopped the car. They gave us a lift to the emergency room. There, the doctor stopped the bleeding and stitched my hand shut. My grandma told the doctors I cut my arm on a tree, but he didn't believe her and reported the injury to the police. An officer was waiting for my grandma and me near our house when we finally returned home. I was so sleepy, I don't even remember what they talked about. And that's all the story right there. What did your grandma tell the police officer? Did he arrest her? I don't remember. By that time I was already too weak and too tired. At first he was really angry. He yelled at my grandma. Then she told him about the black goat, and the man turned all white, cringed, crossed himself 3 times and whispered, yeah. Oh, merciful is the mother of the dark wilderness. I think that's how you pronounce that. What do you think it meant? I don't know, and I have no desire to find out. That's the last I heard of that. That's pretty cool. Terrifying, but cool. Are you alone in the city? I'd never even survive out here on my own. I live here with my husband, my dear Tazius. He doesn't work anymore, but every engineer is interested in his advice. I see. And how do you live then? I'm a simple woman. I have no use for any extra comforts. A roof over my head, a blanket with no holes, and bread on the table, at least every other day. All that is possible here in Krasno-Samonia, so I'm quite content with my life here. It's kind of grim, that's all you can hope for, but if people are getting by on it, I guess it's not too bad. What? Oh, I must ask that again. What rumours have you heard? I'm not big for rumours. There are these telltales in the city, like Aunt Yagoria, for example. She's very into gossip. She knows a lot about the city and the wasteland, who did what and who went where. It's really crazy. I have better things to do. Oh, you share some gossip with me nonetheless, I guess. You mentioned the harvest. What harvest? Woman's face lights up with a wide smile. No, when I was little, my grandma... Oh, yeah, so... Okay, yeah, when I was little, my grandma and I got lost in the forest. Since then, I'm really good with finding my way through the wilderness. For some reason, I know every bush, every mushroom, where to dig to find a healing root. Then I sell what I find to the moonshiners, to the doctors, and the people who cannot afford medicine. That is a useful profession. Fortunately, I can't learn that like the entomologist skill. Grey-bearded militiaman greets you with a serious look and light wariness. Having cleared his throat, he looks at you straight in the eyes and asks, he doesn't like the serious type. How can I help you, comrade? How are you doing here at the harbour? The locals getting on your nerves? The militiaman has another short-term coughing fit and answers you with a smirk. Keeping in mind there is a brothel right on the boat, it's almost impossible to be bored here. Sometimes I need to save the clients who've not paid for the rendered services, and the girl's wrath. Sometimes I need to transfer to the drunks to the bushes so they can rest there. Life's fun. What else can I tell you? Well, it's good to know a militiaman who enjoys his job, I guess. Has anything interesting happened? The man frowns. My post is near the local casino and the brothel, so interesting things that happen here are usually funny. But a couple of years ago, a few steps from here on the shore, the fate has brought me... it was gruesome. The body of a dead girl, about 20 years or so. She was dressed in modest clothes, and it was clear she wasn't a prostitute. Just walked past the brothel for some reason, when someone grabbed her, cut her throat and mouth from ear to ear, as if it were a smile. We couldn't crack the case no matter how hard we tried. No one could identify the poor girl. She didn't have any ID on her. When I was filling in the paperwork, I had to give her a nickname, so they named her the Black Hortensia, because of her beauty and the color of her dress. Who's the scumbag who destroyed such beauty? I wonder whether we can get down to the bottom of that. Oh well, I guess there's no real way to tell at this point. How you doing? I'm into local gossip. Care to share? In the old days, there was a gang called the Alphabet here. For security reasons, the gang members had nicknames consisting of one letter. I investigated their attacks on local caravans. Their traces lead me to an abandoned Kolkhots, where their base was located. And I know what a Kolkhots is thanks to this game. It's a communal farm in the Soviet Union. Suddenly, I see A and B, the two biggest Alphabet bosses, sitting in the ruins of an old chimney. They were smoking, drinking, and laughing, as if having forgotten that just a day ago they killed 10 caravaneers. I quickly called for backup and started shooting so that these bastards didn't have the time to get off the chimney. A caught a headshot and fell, but B disappeared, vanished into thin air, and he was gone for many years. Now I keep hearing people talking of B's return. They say he's looking to get the gang back together. Well, maybe... There's a long list of bandits who are messing about in the wasteland. Woman in her 40s with barely visible grey streak in her hair and uneasy black eyes that dart around greet you with a good-natured smile. So we met at last. You're an interesting man. A man from nowhere. Interesting. Have we met before? It's a weird reaction to me. The woman winks at you and stifles a laugh. Not in person. Wait. I, Igoria Mikhailovna. And she's named Yegoria. I'm free of any relationships and very open to interesting rumours. I've been interested in you ever since the people started talking of some unknown man who came to the Otradno Gate. You've been to many places so far, yet no one's recognised you, even though all the local residents have been to the suburbs at least once. You turned up out of the blue, or perhaps from under the ground, eh? How about I send you to the ground, you bloody spy? I'm a migrant worker. No wonder no one recognises me. I've never been here before. The woman winks at you slyly and grins. Ah, of course. And we old gossipers never thought of it. Now that's clear. Can we change the subject? So perhaps you can answer some questions? The woman waves dismissively, as if she's been asked this too many times. You seem to like this, questioning people around. Let's just admit though, what's your name and tell me about yourself, you pester everyone with. We know what you really want, don't you? Rumours, and I have plenty of them. Sweet, fresh rumours. What do people talk about in the city centre? They harbour no trust of the police after the recent intake, all because of a couple of bad eggs. There are good people among them who fulfil their duty, but even they will cover up for a corrupt officer in their ranks. Why? This makes all people think them trash. Yep. I've been there. Are there any other rumours from other regions? A friend from the far west sends me postcards sometimes. In the latest one, she warns me not to go to bed during a storm. Their villages are the bigger ones, and after one night storm, all the villagers had the same dream about a voice in the dark and a yellow arm in the doorway, and blah blah blah. So terrible it was they couldn't work for a day after that. They were still shaking. I wonder whether that's like a Russian fairy tale or something. Wait a second, what's this blah blah? What blah blah? I'm telling you. There was a storm in the village, and a friend of mine lives, and they all had the same dream about voices in the dark and yellow hand and blah. For a second, the woman's face is distorted with sincere, blood-curdling horror. Her eyes turn glassy. A second later, she relaxes and continues with a calm smile. What the hell? And other stupid things, you know. Dreams can be weird, so you might not even want to go to sleep. So she's had one, I guess. I feel ill-at-ease. Let me ask you another question. That's interesting. It's weird I can't press it further. What do people say at the Chamber of Commerce? Everyone fights. We, simple folk, fight for bread and grain and a bottle, and they fight for power. They had a guy called Yashin. He was an interesting man, climbed up the career ladder, and then his so-called friends, fellow chamber officials, ate him alive and spat out the bones. Now he sells some shit in Otradno. Like a total loser, because at some point he failed to take a hint as far as I know. I wonder whether I can talk to Yashin on that. He was the salesman, wasn't he? Perhaps time for me to go. That was an interesting conversation. Huh. And you, my good sir, you're so hungry. He looks like a dock worker, doesn't he? A man in his 50s with an unshaven, harsh face and unfriendly eyes greets you with a short nod. You see his left arm covered in washed out, barely discernible tattoos. Move to the belt a long, heavy hunting knife's attached to you. Oh, okay, right. What do you want, man? What are you interested in? I'm interested in your tattoos. Did you get them in prison, or are they purely decorative? The question obviously irritates the man, who seems to be a badass, who quickly hides his tattooed arm behind his back. Greetings from the old life, bro. I don't think about these marks, and you shouldn't either. Hey, mate, my entire family's been to prison. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Oof. I'm always a bit worried about those speech capons now. The man waves his hand, annoyed, but still answers. What a pest you are. Okay, I suppose there's no harm in telling this to a person who knows a thing or two of it himself. I got to prison when I was the age 20 out of sheer stupidity. A friend of mine framed me, bastard. I thought I was helping him to get an old fridge to a dumpster, and it turned out he was trying to hide his girlfriend's corpse. Shit. I think the rest doesn't need telling. And my tattoo means my nickname. The man shows his arm. You barely discern a washed out picture with the word giraffe written underneath. Your neck doesn't seem particularly long there. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. What can you tell me about yourself? My name's Gerda. I'm a hunter. You might have seen my wife, Margarita. Oh yeah, I've seen her. She often goes to the market. We moved here together not that long ago. We live a decent, calm life. What else can I tell you? You know, you're staying very quiet, Fidel, actually. Once I nearly got killed by a dangerous mutant when I was hunting, and the man next to you is the one who saved my life. While I was unconscious, my wife went to him for vodka, which he gave her free to make compresses. For the first time during the conversation, Genya smiles friendly. The smile is directed at your companion, Fidel. What I did doesn't deserve gratitude, amigo. I was just being kind. There are two things I hate in you, bro. Your fucking modesty is one of them. And what's the other thing you don't like, Fidel? The way my wife looks at him. The man starts laughing at his own joke and claps Fidel on the shoulder in a good-natured way, but something in his eyes proves he takes this innocent joke far more serious. Haha, your joke's gonna suit a stand-up comic. Yes, I'm funny if you think about it. Do you only hunt boars? If we're talking about delving deep into the thick of the forest for several days, sleeping in tents, then yes, only boars. Well, and moose sometimes. Or bears if I have the opportunity to sell the meat. Jesus Christ, if this guy takes on bears and I want to fight him. As for smaller game, unlike myrmics, scolias, spiders, I hunt them all year round. They're common around the city. Damn it, and I need some of those actually, for the legs. What rumors have you heard? I mostly hear hunters' tales. There's one. Listen, people say that during the war, one bomb didn't hit the city it was aimed at. Instead, it hit the nature reserve at the city border. It fell right on top of a herd of deer, and the radiation and heat made this herd fuse together as a single creature. A huge, taller than any house chimera, many hooves and horns, which also possesses a mind that exceeds not that of only deer, but also of a man. They say the beast wanders these lands to this day, showing deer herds the way to pastures not affected by radiation, and if it meets a hunter on the way, it instills a thought in its head that he should kill himself, and he does, with his own hands. People call this chimera deer aristocracy. Okay, this is 100% a, hint to something else, but I don't know what it is. Sounds creepy. Would be kind of cool to encounter it. I'd be interested on seeing what the model looks like in the game. And oh god, what his portrait looks like as well. What can you tell me about this place? I'm mostly happy. These are good lands, thick forests teeming with game and not too far from here, even though I think fewer and fewer animals are in them every year. But I dismiss this thought. Surely it can't be that nature survived even the war is dying now. That's right, sounds ridiculous. Nature can cope with anything. I gotta go. Bye. Who is this noble captain? He looks a sort Looks for anything to go by. You're about to meet a proper sea dog, large as life. The man puffs at his wooden pipe thoughtfully and strokes his large grey beard. As he notices you, he puts his arms akimbo and nods. "Arr, fancy a little cruise?" I might. That's other destination. Sure, why not? The captain casts a loving look at a small boat anchored nearby and answers in a very serious voice. "A cruise from Krasnos to Moyne into the Dead City it is." Dead City. It's full of dangers, yet many adventurers find it appealing. The Dead City? Have I seen that? How often do you do such tours? Not too often. These places are curious but unfriendly, there's no denying it. And sometimes I'm low on the funds. Sometimes I transport huge parties of stalkers there. It's all sheer luck. I understand. What's your price? Okay, let's do some calculations here. The price of fuel to leave the bay, food, hammocks, latrine tax. It's like 7 grand in total. Jesus. Have you no shame, sea dog? Drop the price to fellows even. No way. Sailing aboard the ship is not cheap. Jesus. I do want to go to the Dead City, but I think he means he's just going to kill me and dump me overboard. Let's go reload so that to do that. So one thing is that speechcraft is ridiculously hard to pass. Right, I'd rather ask you some questions. Suit yourself, tourist. Which part of the wasteland is better for living? Yeah, it's purely subjective. Tastes differ. I like being at the sea more. There, it looks as if there'd never been any apocalypse at all. I see. Another question? How long have you been prowling at sea? Since time immemorial. Why immemorial? Because I don't remember how long, really. Seems like I've spent my entire life on the deck. Oh my. What can you tell me about Krasnos and Moyne? It's a quiet bay, no pirates or storms. I can't be here too long, I get bored. Can I share some local gossip? Local rumours are a little interest to me, but sea tales are a different matter. But I'm afraid you'll be bored to death with them. You're wrong. Can I ask another question? Yeah, I'll ask for it later. Grey-haired man with a neat beard is taking a slow walk, mumbling barely indistinguishable words. As you approach him, you understand that what you're hearing are mathematical terms. In this case, the quadrature of the circle will be equal to... Oh, I haven't noticed you there, young man. How long have you been following me? Are you a student? No, I just felt like having a chat. Oh, math students. You some kind of local professor? An elderly man smiles apologetically, as if he's feeling guilty for not introducing himself earlier. Tadeusz Petrovich Krabkov. At your service, young man. Not gonna lie, it's been over 20 years now since I've been a professor. Nowadays, I'm just a simple man who lives out his days with his wife Rita, from time to time providing advice to quote the words of the immortal Alexander Pushkin, a young and unfamiliar tribe on various technical issues. You're the guy who engineers speak to. A couple of words, a bold and confident speaker. You should really write a book, so your knowledge won't go to waste. Yes, write a book. But you see, even though my brain is able to store a lot of engineering secrets, never learned how to do several things at once. I do have plans to write a number of textbooks for the future generations, but I'm constantly distracted by all these consulting jobs that I need to take in order to feed my small family. Don't you think you could have written all these textbooks if someone was to say finance your work? Ah, young man, these jokes make my old heart ache for no good reason. Do you know how happy it'd make me to write these textbooks? If I would magically receive at least 10,000 rubles needed to secure a decent life for me and my wife, but that's not something one can just get because destiny decides how to show kindness. I wonder, I mean, it might be worth sponsoring his work. Maybe seeing as he's engineering, of the engineering mindset, he can help me when I get a base set up or something like that. That's pretty cool. And that, here's where you're wrong. Right now I'm a bit short on cash, but I promise to sponsor your work as soon as I have some money. With all due respect, my friend, I find it hard to believe. Why waste our hopes on the impossible in this cruel world? I'll prove you wrong as soon as I have the money. But for now, let's change the subject. May I ask some questions? Yeah, unless you're looking for advice. Because in that case, I'm afraid I will have to charge you. Aren't you getting any retirement money from the city? Well, Not a hard no, of course, because a certain man named Maslov in this time secured payment of retirement benefits for the veterans of this world's last war. However, the veteran workers of intellectual labour are invisible to the fine gentlemen in the Chamber of Commerce. Of course, there were times when I received my very pleasant monetary compensation from the Chamber of Commerce for giving lectures on the proper care of the ventilation locks in the bunker. What kind of advice do you provide? I'm an engineer. During my time, I've worked on developing some cutting-edge technologies, from new types of weapons to the newest bomb shelters. I can definitely use this guy at my home. That'd be cool. My knowledge helps the people who come into the possession of such objects without receiving necessary training. I'm also quite good with hydraulic systems, like for example, my last consultation I gave was about repairing an irrigation pump. And we've also heard the story about the exoskeleton. I mean, exoskeletons do use hydraulics to move around, so it's possible this guy could assist me with that if I were to ever find the suit. That's pretty cool. Some brain you must have. One more question. To share some local gossip? I'm not one for gossip and rumours, but I can share an interesting observation with you. According to my calculations, the probability of the legendary organisation Atom being real is close to 99%. It's funny how obviously real organisation first became known as urban legend. No, I'm not saying number 2. Wow, I would never have guessed it. One more question. Where are all the interesting places around here? I'm afraid I can't help you there. Go, take a walk around the city, talk to people. I'm sure you'll find someone who can help you. And I will do just that. Wait, what do you have to sell? Nothing. See you. Alright, let's see what we got next.